Let's bring in Israeli Special Ops veteran Aaron Cohen and board-certified plastic surgeon who escaped from Iran at the age of 6, Dr. Sheila Nazarian. Thank you both for coming on. Aaron, to you first. A lot of talk about the Houthis now, and here is the military spokesman for the Houthis saying this. Watch.
We affirm that our fingers are on the trigger for direct military intervention in any of the following cases: the joining of any other alliances with America and Israel against the Islamic Republic of Iran, and the axis of jihad and resistance, the use of the Red Sea to carry out hostile operations by America and Israel against the Islamic Republic of Iran and against any Muslim country, which we will not allow.
The simple term in the Middle East is this is terror coming from a different direction. Aaron, what do you think?
Trace, the Houthis don't enter wars, they're activated. And this is precisely the type of activation that Iran employs with its terror tentacles. We saw it with Israel over the last 2 years when Israel went in there and took out their airport. So by Iran now activating the Houthis, they are now saying that we are going to activate our terror proxy networks against American interests to escalate this war, which I think is a very, very big mistake. And that spokesperson who's up there, I'm sure there's a nice little target package that's already been mapped out with this guy. And so they need to be careful. President Trump is already mobilizing right now. But this kind of talk, I think, is very, very dangerous for the IRGC. You cannot hide under the proxies with this president.
Yeah. Meantime, to you now, Sheila, because inside Iran, the BBC is writing the following here, quoting, several people we spoke to said they had received no guidance on where to go or how to protect themselves during attacks. There are no sirens, no warnings, one resident said. You just hear the explosion in the absence of clear communication, and amid an ongoing internet blackout, many described feeling exposed and uncertain, unsure when or where the next strike might hit. I mean, it appears there's no direction, no leadership, and I'm unclear if that's a good thing or a bad thing for the people in Iran.
Well, I think obviously it's scary, but I think at this point the people in Iran know that these bombs are very targeted. Certainly there is some risk. They don't have bomb shelters like there exists in Israel, for example. But what I'm hearing, Trace, from people who are talking to people inside or have family members that go in and out of Iran is that they're actually very much more nervous when the bombs stop. They're terrified that this regime is going to stay in place, and what is going to become of them if the regime is not toppled? How are they going to be murdered in the streets? What kind of revenge is this regime going to take on them? So when the bombs stop, that's when the people in Iran are getting even more nervous. Legitimate concern, it really is. Meantime, Marco Rubio is in France, where he talked about the talk of 10,000 U.S. troops moving into the region. He said this, Aaron, watch.
We are ahead of schedule on most of them, and we can achieve them without any ground troops, without any. Now, in terms of why there's deployments, number one, the president has to be prepared for multiple contingencies, which I'm not going to discuss in the meeting. We are always going to be prepared to give the president maximum optionality and maximum opportunity to adjust to contingencies should they emerge.
Because Americans hear ground troops and they get a little bit concerned, Aaron.
Yeah, well, I can understand why. I mean, it was a long time that the Americans were in Iraq and Afghanistan. Look, here's where I'm at with this one. Marco Rubio said the key word here. It's about optionality. The key piece with this right here is what I call deterrence. By having the option of having the 10,000 boots that are deployed means that if Iran decides to make the fatal mistake of putting the Houthis into an operational phase to cut off that Mandalbek part of the shipping, it's going to be a very big mistake, because having the option to be able to trigger the Marines for special selective types of engagement might be enough. The idea of it might be enough to back off the IRGC. And my contention is that they're more afraid of what Trump can do based on the escalation and de-escalation of this campaign over the last couple of weeks. I think they're going to be watching these Marines hit the ground here. They may want to take a second guess and decide how far they want to push these Houthis.
Meantime, the president said this about regime change.
Regime change. I guess we change the regime. The regime gets blown up every 2 days. No, everybody's afraid to announce who's the head. We don't even know who the hell the leader is. So I think we have regime change already. But we're going to be, at some point, we'll be leaving.
But at what point do they leave? Do they leave soon enough where the regime cannot change? I mean, that's the big concern in Iran, is at what point does the United States and Israel leave?
I think Trump knows exactly what he's doing. I think that he is going for full regime change, but I think he says, okay, we're negotiating right now. Some ships got through, the markets eased up. So I think it's a kind of push and pull between getting actual regime change in Iran and freeing the people of Iran and freeing the world from these terror proxies we've been talking about, but also keep an eye on the market and using his verbiage and his speeches to kind of control so that the market doesn't completely crash.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's exactly right. It's Friday, so you're a little bit more, a little bit more outgoing on Monday. You kind of pull it back in a little bit, and that's the way it goes. Sheila, Aaron, thank you both.